Oxygen versus G2. A matchup here in the quarterfinals. G2 already clinching a spot at the LAN here in Sweden, Turtle, but G2 already clinching a spot here in the LAN. Oxygen, my question is, does G2 take this match seriously, as Oxygen is definitely going to be taking this seriously here, Turtle?
I mean, there's seeding on the line, there's certain points rather. It's important, okay? Regardless of if there's a lot at stake, if the pressure is the same as before in the other series that we saw, maybe there's not as much weight on the result here. Regardless, there's a lot of people watching. There's confidence here. You want to make a name for yourself, and even G2, while they're so established and everybody respects them, even Gary G was talking about it in the interview, you still want to show up and prove that you're one of the best teams in North America.
They do. This is a big opportunity for Oxygen and for G2. Just trying to secure as many points as you can on your way to Sweden. We'll see G2 in the orange, Oxygen in the blue. A best of 7 to move forward.
Ooh.
Strong start from G2. Chicago passing down to JNaps, taking the shot in the far corner and slicing it up. The defense not able to reach.
And this is what Corelli was literally just talking about. You've got to intercept the midfield passing from G2. They are too consistent and precise with flowing this ball between themselves to get an open shot on the net. There's JNaps to put the first one in. G2, they already look hot as heck out the gates.
Here comes JNaps on the next shot, playing into the corner. Krasix picking up the ball, passing out to Toasty as Oxygen of their first chance at offense, but shut down in the midfield. LJ to the outside. Krasix wants to turn on this, but has to respect Drees taking control in the midfield. And now back to Chicago on the back line. Booms it to the backboard. Wants to jump forward. Gets 2 defenders up for it. It'll go to the corner on the clear.
And now I want to say this is expected here, Wavepunk, where Oxygen are just going to be stuck in their own half. We're going to see what they can offer on the transition out. Okay, Krasix, I like the attempt there with the air dribble. A little flashy. Things could bode well for this Oxygen offense, but immediately they're turned around. Okay, the passing has been there so far for Oxygen. Much better. And we'll see if they can break out, because that's going to be the real test here, Wavepunk. How do they deal with the G2 offense that suffocates the defense? They take your boost, they get demos. Drees gets a demo, they're going for a shot, and they're right back in your face with JNaps.
One-on-one challenge, and then the touch from Chicago puts it across the box. Krasix gets there, but now JNaps, after the challenge, after the pass, down for shot number 2. A play across the midfield as G2 tries to hold on to it, but LJ on the interception. He's going to try and connect with Toasty on the outside, but Chicago getting in the way. Now into the corner. Chicago chasing this, looking for his teammates. Back in front, Toasty out of the box will boom it to the other side of the field and look to set up his team on offense.
I like that idea from, I believe it was Chicago in the corner. Pretty important to G2 and their offense to get those midfield passes going. And here's JNaps off the side while looking to build something. Maybe this could lead into a counterattack for Oxygen, but it's immediately turned around here, Wavepunk. G2 are so fast to respond and get back on defense.
3:04 to go. G2 holding on to the lead.
He's got his flip.
On top of 1. Chicago back down. Krasix off the backboard. Chicago trying to put it in, but Krasix gets him again. Back to the side. Now LJ. This touch goes towards the box. Toasty has to clear it out. Now Drees coming in with infield pass. Chicago's there. Back to Drees. Oh, they try to push it through the defense, but they build a wall.
I love that play there from Drees to push it into the midfield. And it's so routine. We see this all the time from G2 Wavepunk, but it is clean as can be. I love the way they move down the field and try to split apart this Oxygen defense. And we're going to see if they have what it takes to find the interceptions. And even on offense, you're missing opportunities like that. Here comes Drees, though. There's a chance he goes for the fake, gets around 1, maybe something in the corner, just decides to go for the 50-50, and still muscling through the Oxygen defense.
Here's Chicago, though, on the third man. He's got space with the ball now, looking for defenders. Krasix to the outside. There's Drees into a corner. One more touch. No. Oh, gets a pass to JNaps and slots it to the top corner. 2-0 G2.
Oh, my goodness. And at first, I thought this was going to be a mistake out of Drees. He didn't get the double tap. He was looking for the read to hit it again, and Toasty actually respected that. Toasty waited and was more patient off the backboard, assuming Drees is going to get the touch, so it worked out as a fake, and instead you've got an easier setup, an easier shot for JNaps, and of course he sends it home.
Oh, now more pressure on the following kickoff. The defense will get up in time, and G2 takes their precious moments to get the control of the ball in the midfield. Chicago now to Drees, onto the backboard. A miss. Chicago to the outside. JNaps out of the backfield, past one, bumped high, but he's going to hold on to control here. Out of boost through the second, and Krasic's in the third man will take control. Loses the challenge to Chicago, and here comes Drees. Soft touch from JNaps. Drees wants to read this. Oh, and he's just going to take the time to try and stall things out in the midfield while Oxygen now advancing, looking for a counterattack.
Maybe something there from LJ, but look at that carry out from JNaps. It was so clean. You saw that it looked like an opportunity there, Wavepunk, for LJ, but JNaps with that incredible defensive stance got the touch and then followed it up to get the transition, but maybe a pass off the backboard could lead to something. Drees is there and in position. It looks so dangerous. Maybe that one finally hits the back of the net. Oxygen strike.
They finally get the passing game going strong enough to get it away from the defenders here. Well, JNaps actually is the one who puts it into the midfield there. Krasic's was putting the pressure on him, and LJ is able to take a shot. Loose net there, loose defense from G2. We'll see it a 1-goal game with 1 minute left to go.
I like the read, though, from LJ. I mean, it's good positioning, regardless of who touched that ball. For him to punish and be in position for a poor touch from G2, that speaks really well to that third man awareness from LJ and what he's able to bring to the team, even if his teammates don't get the touch.
Here's Drees. Out of the corner, left the ball. Now Toasty. To the side, Krasic's looking for a clear out of his own corner. He's got LJ in the midfield. Goes for the dribble here. Now flicks it across, but overreaches. He won't reach LJ there. Ball too high.
30 seconds.
Now Toasty. Off the backboard. Oxygen needing to find a goal to play for overtime. LJ to the corner. Demolition onto Drees on the back line, but the ball has been lofted and cleared by G2. Oxygen not going to be able to take advantage of the demolition. Final 10 seconds. Drees with control in the sky. Demolition's in the corner, and he nearly gets it across. LJ gets a stop. Now back out to Toasty. Can he connect with Krasic's in the midfield? Looking for the shot. Well passed, but the shot was too dead center, too low. JNaps will find the block, and G2 take game 1.
And you see the foundation that this Oxygen roster has. I mean, it looks great. They can get some nice passes into the midfield, get a play developed, and you got to respect that out of them. But G2, they are simply too good. At least in this first game, they were too solid on defense. The touches were there. You could see Drees in the final few moments getting a flip reset, stalling, and wasting a lot of time off the clock. Just very routine but efficient gameplay from G2 Esports to fend off the Oxygen squad.
14 shots from G2 here.
Yeah.
It's only 5 from Oxygen. It tells the story of who was on offense the most. G2 coming up strong in the beginning of a series they are expected to win. There is an expectation here that G2 will handle Oxygen no problem, and Oxygen, despite their best efforts, they're not able to crack and get a lead at any point. So we'll see if things start differently here, though. G2 got a really early goal, and that kind of set the pace for game 1. Game 2 could be different.
Yeah, and it was a 1-goal game, which is something that we're used to seeing. I believe these guys played earlier in the Swiss stage. Every single game individually was only won, by 1 goal, and that's from G2, who beat Oxygen 3-1 in the Swiss stage. So they definitely have what it takes, Wavepunk, to keep it close, and maybe a good start here could result in something different than the last game.
Kickoff goal's going to work out in their favor. Nice stop from Krasic's, and LJ somehow dodging around his teammate there to get control of the ball after the 2-1 challenges. 1 touch, 1 pop into the goal, and we've got Oxygen in the lead.
I like how you were talking about Oxygen scoring first, and that could change things. Then immediately, literally within, 5 seconds, it's over.
And they've got it. Now, how do they play with the lead? Off the backboard here. Here's Toasty. To the sky. Chicago beats him to the ball. And now Drees up onto the backboard.
Double tap.
And trying to tap it in. Oh, the follow from Chicago. Here's the follow from JNaps. Barely sneaks it under the crossbar to tie the game.
Oh, and this is just huge shout out to Drees here. Doing a lot of work off the backboard. That bounce initially, it went down. I don't know how Drees got the read, but then you notice every single player from G2 is in the perfect position to capitalize off that play, get a good touch follow-up after the Drees double tap, and then get an even easier setup there for JNaps, who's just been cleaning up all game long for G2.
Happy to do it. Cleanup goals worth the same as the double taps. Here's JNaps now to the sky. He's going to lead this time and bump Krasic's off the ball. The awareness from JNaps. Let's carry this onto the backboard, and then let me go smother the backboard defender so it takes a bounce in my favor. Lucky for Oxygen, they were well within awareness of what was going to happen there. They were able to get another player up to challenge that ball and take away the tap, but still. Big brain plays here from G2 as they bounce it off the ground to the corner. Dangerous. JNaps pushes it into 2 defenders. Dries picks up the corner boost, and he's out to try and turn this around by himself, but the rest of the defense from Oxygen gonna have sorted themselves out. He nearly got there, but just couldn't quite get this car behind the ball.
And G2, they're still going. The shots keep coming forward for them, trying to float this ball into the midfield, maybe develop something out of the corner. But this is the strategy that G2 love to play. Keep that ball in your half, take your boost, starve you out, and eventually they're going to get an easy cleanup shot for none other than JNaps, because that's just how things have been working out in this series alone. And JNaps has had a fantastic series, on point with his striking, and he's been more aggressive than I'm used to seeing so far, and I like it your way, Punk.
Chicago able to disrupt the defense. Pass across, his teammates weren't ready for it either, but they'll stay on offense for now. LJ with a nice touch and extension at midfield will push the ball into the G2 half. And we'll see Oxygen take a crack at the goal. Now the clear back the other way. Here's Dries across 2. LJ puts it high. JNaps there, covered up by Toasty from behind, but Chicago winning the challenge in midfield, now into the Oxygen corner. He's got Dries right behind him, and JNaps trailing there. 1, 2, 3 in a line, going back into their half.
That's
Challenge is going to go G2's way here as JNaps off the backboard, back in front of the box. Chicago tries, but LJ beats him to the ball, and a long play down the field. Dries in the third man has to back up.
I mean, you'll notice that Dries is in the perfect spot then to make another counterattack. While that was a great clear from Oxygen, we're right back in the half here. The defensive path, rather, for Oxygen. JNaps maybe something off the backboard. LJ, a good touch to the corner. And we're just going to play this one out. G2 looking for that one mistake. They've been pretty much on offense this entire game. Oxygen just have to hold up.
JNaps off of his backboard. A tie game here across halftime as Dries takes a shot from the midfield. It's in on the counterattack from their own half. G2's in back in the lead.
And it's a quick 1-2 passing play. JNaps over to Chicago. Chicago back into the midfield for Dries, who is lurking, waiting patiently for that one opportunity. And that pass came in with so much power, Dries could follow along with it.
Kickoffs. Important here as we saw the kickoff goal to set the tone for game number 1. But now G2, 2 goals in a row. Taking the lead back, 2 minutes left. Jane up to the sky, LJ past 1, up against Chicago, past 2 now towards the box and pinches it off the ground and in for goal number 3.
And we've had a lot of ground pinches today. I'm thinking back to that Garrett G pinch that we saw earlier. Here comes Chicago to give a taste of his own. And look at that, Chicago off the ground. That was amazing. You love to see it.
We saw Shad do that yesterday against Complexity as well.
Oh, yeah.
On Complexity. It's been a weekend for the ground pinches.
Well, it's crazy to see how fast these players can recover and fall on top of the ball. Previously, you know, you might not have the control or be as efficient with the boost, but hold on a second, Krasix, the save from Dries, that could have been something. Maybe a start another shot. It finally goes in, and the G2 defense has been broken.
Man, the shot was so fast. Dries has to jump up and make this save, and he's not able to hold on to control at all. And then Chicago, who's rotating back, he's just he just held the pedal down for just a second too long, and then he's passed the ball. At that point, Oxygen gets another shot, and they put power behind that one as well. Now a 1-goal game. Here's LJ out of his corner. Extension back to midfield. Toasty's there up against 2. He's going to need some help out of the corner here. And gets the separation off the back wall, but Chicago's there before any of the rest of Oxygen pick up the ball. Now JNaps back down the field. Krasix will trap and control on his backboard.
Oh, but it's predictable. Chicago knew exactly where he's trying to go, got the 50-50, and G2 are just going to try and keep this ball stuck in the Oxygen half. Waste time. That's a good clear. Maybe something here from Toasty. He doesn't opt to go for the midfield pass. Instead, tries to keep the pressure forward. Maybe at least something, but of course, G2 can recover. And with that option there to not go for the pass, it kind of ruined and made a lot of their offense flat, Wavepunk.
JNaps and Dries, miscommunication in the midfielder. Who's going to take control of the ball? It gives Oxygen an opening, but JNaps will ultimately win that second challenge. You get to hold on to it. Krasix back to LJ here. Dries with a block at the point of contact, and now picking up the ball off the mid-wall. Chicago versus Toasty. It'll be Toasty emerging with control in the challenge. Now up against JNaps, bouncing it off the corner. Chicago will come in to take control before JNaps had to touch the ball. He fell back and stalled it out. 25 seconds left. G2 holding on. Back to Chicago. Over the top. No. Toasty breaks him up. JNaps to take to the sky, but loses control and has no boost. The ball bouncing in Oxygen territory. And back to the other side. 12 seconds left. Oxygen needs a goal to go to overtime. Through 1. Oh, the turn back. They thought he was going to... Krasix thought that his teammate had lost, but no. 4 seconds left. Can they get it? Chicago down into the ground. G2 takes game 2.
That was such an awkward last 10 seconds. I was trying to break it all down. I didn't really know what I was watching at first with that slow play from, I believe it was Chicago in the corner. And then even earlier on, JNabs, whenever there was about 15 seconds left, he had no boost and got a pretty poor touch, but then still got the pre-flip follow into the dunk afterwards to find a touch. It seems like G2, their backs are against the wall and you think Oxygen have a chance, but then G2 pull out this crazy mechanical play where they do manage to find at least one touch and stay alive.
Yeah, man, there was a moment there where I think it was LJ on the challenge. He goes for the ball. And a G2 defender comes out, challenges him. The challenge looks like G2's gonna win, but it kind of just dies, right? It goes to the neutral 50-50. And I think it was Krasix turns back. He was like, oh, we've lost the challenge. I must go back. If he had just he was right there shadowing on the side. Had he just waited to react to the challenge instead of predicting his team to lose, I think he actually has a really good shot at control there to take it to the goal. But ultimately, I don't know, an awkward few seconds there. Ultimately, G2's able to hold on.
I don't know, though. It's like the decision-making from Oxygen is just a little bit questionable. Sometimes I feel like there might be a better option to go for a pass across the field. I noticed a couple times they were opting to go off the backboard and hope that G2 would obviously make a mistake and not get the read off the difficult bounce. But against the G2 roster that looks this good and is performing well, you've got to mix it up. You need more creativity, you need some mechanics, and there's got to be something a little bit extra besides that typical routine play off the backboard. And that's going to be the first goal, of course. And it's none other than JNabs, who's been cleaning up all of these goals.
Yeah, but look at the setup here from Chicago. Getting the touch, getting the bump on Krasix, getting in between the defender and the ball there to get the pass out. And JNabs, the thing that JNabs has been doing excellently, there's been some cleanup goals here, but he's keeping them just below the crossbar. Like, he's making them as hard to save as possible without having the crossbar get involved. Not an easy place to put the ball. He's done it well over and over again. And I agree with you that it feels like Oxygen's sort of waiting for a G2 mistake, and they're not making any turtle. The strat does not work when a team's playing as cleanly as G2.
But you need better counterattacks. A lot of times when you think G2 are making mistakes, they're really just overextending because they like playing that risky play style. And speaking about a mistake, if you're giving Chicago a free shot or even some space, that could be the end.
Drees back to the sky over 2. He gets bumped off the ball. Going to try and fall on it. Toasty will get away, but JNabs is there. Onto the backboard. Everybody in Oxygen straight with no boost in Chicago. Taps it off the ground and back in. In the first minute, we've already had 2 G2 goals.
I feel for Krasix. First of all, Krasix is coming down from the ceiling. I don't even know how he got there. I don't know why he's there, but he has to land with basically no boost, then get the read off the backboard. G2 swarming around the defense of Oxygen, taking the boost, getting demos, and just being a nuisance.
I went back to that breakaway that Chicago had. Everybody from Oxygen then just flying back in sort of panic mode. To try and cover that up, and they successfully defend the easy shot, but then the follow-ups there, G2 able to connect with each other. Keep control. And Chicago ultimately puts in the second goal here.
Oh, there's a good pass. That's the option. See, that's the outlet I'm looking for a little bit more from Oxygen. Keep going for that midfield touch, looking for a teammate who's waiting to make a play instead of just flinging that one off the backboard. Another shot from Drees. Of course, G2 are going to be very aggressive. There's a demo from Drees as well, and it opens up space for JNabs. What's he got? A flip reset. Maybe the follow-up off the crossbar. It was so close to looking like a highlight play.
G2 is opting for the air dribble over and over again, which it's not like we're not seeing them score on the air dribble, but the confidence to take that control to the sky in what is one of the more kind of easily read positions and just hunt for flip resets here. I don't know. Drees again, the shot in the air, and now pressure on the net. Krasix's got to dive back on it. JNabs gets the pass back to Chicago, who passes across the Drees. Oh, it's behind Drees. So LJ will take control of the midfield, but look at the recovery back. Drees just loops back around him and bops it off of his hood.
I mean, Oxygen, the counterattack has got to be quicker, and that's definitely a difficult task. You know, I'm not saying that as if it's easy. It's so difficult with how well G2 are rotating. It looks like G2 are going to make a mistake, but then immediately you've got a very, very speedy recovery from one of these 3 players, and just like that, they're back on offense. We haven't seen Oxygen's possession last too long. They just can't keep it in the half of G2.
I like the idea from LJ. Toasty took a pretty simple shot, and he looked to redirect it to the other post.
Oh, JNabs? What?
Barely missed, but Chicago's here to clean it up. 3 goals now. G2 firmly in control with all momentum in this series.
it's an illusion. J2, they're stuck on defense, right? And you're thinking maybe this is going to be something for Oxygen, but no, they get one counterattack, one clear to the other side. They're finding their teammates. And like you said earlier, Wavepunk, they've been going for a lot of these air dribbles and these mechanical plays, but we know full well that G2 can activate that midfield pass and throw something completely different at the Oxygen net.
That was all three defenders. Krazik's Toasty gonna be the last one on the goal line as he rotated in. Now they win some challenges in the midfield, which will slow down G2 a little bit, but here goes Drees again to the sky. Only 36 boost when he left the wall and still said, hey, let's go for this. Here's Chicago now off the side. What a trap.
Line game.
Trying to get Krazix to bite on the challenge.
This could lead to something, though. If Oxygen can pick up their own boost, even Krazik says, I'm on his cam, doesn't have any boost. Chicago forced to get a touch there. Toasty looking for the back pass, but Chicago just keeps chasing that ball. And we've got a setup for JNaps. No way he hits that angle. That would have been ridiculous, so high above the net.
You know you're in trouble when G2's looking to clip on you.
Yeah. There's still time, though, Wavepunk.
You never know. And JNaps for the block on the corner. No way.
JNaps is not only doing so much on offense with the cleanups, the striking, and how accurate he's been, but he still gets those saves. We see you, G2. We see you.
We see you. G2 popping out. They got to win
and
one more
the
after
demo.
this. Oh,
my
nearly.
goodness.
Oh, here's the follow-up. Oh, yeah, poor LJ. Just stranded on the goal line, has to react, and JNaps is not going to miss.
I mean, this is just painful to watch as we see Chicago not only take the corner boost, but then drive across the net and get the demo. It doesn't even matter if that's going in. Regardless, you're wasting so much time where G2's already, before that goal went in, had a 3-0 lead. G2 are just running around in your own half, and it's not to discredit Oxygen. This G2 offense is just, it seems to be unbreakable at this moment. They need something. Oxygen have got to have some kind of energy thrown their way. Maybe it's a mechanical play, an air dribble, something to get that energy back.
The top of one. Here's LJ into the corner. Looking to just bounce back some momentum here. Just find a way to get their feet back under them. A goal here for Oxygen would, I think, help get a little bit of just mental game of, okay, we can score. But down by 4 with 20 seconds left this game. All but over.
Yeah.
It's a mere protocol at this point, and G2 will have a 3-game lead going into game 4.
It definitely feels like a big part of this is the midfield boost and who's mostly in control of those. And maybe if Oxygen prioritized that a little bit more than their own corners, that could play into some play. I mean, it could lead to some kind of strategy here. It's difficult to say against G2. You've got Oxygen who are just stuck on their own half. And when G2 is rotating so fast, if you can take away the midfield boost, then there's a potential where you slow down the rotation because you force somebody like Chicago and JNaps to rotate all the way back to their own half. So you get a little bit of breathing room. Maybe Oxygen try to implement that. Regardless, it's going to be difficult. And we do, in fact, get an Oxygen timeout.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense here. I mean, your tournament life hanging on the line here. You lose the next game and you are done. You don't get to play tomorrow. So big road ahead of them, though. And weirdly, like the place they're in right now is a longer road than when we started the series, and they had a little bit of wiggle room. Right. They have to win 4 straight here against a team that is playing as good as I've seen them play all season. G2.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Precious few mistakes right now.
It's incredible to see them be this consistent, and the versatility of the offense is what I really appreciate so far in this series. You know, it's not like G2 are playing perfect. There's some mistakes, but there's so far few in between that Oxygen don't have the boost to capitalize. And what I talk about when I say versatility is, I mean, JNaps, he can clean up and he can hit almost every shot he needs to as that third man. Then you've got Drees going in with these incredible flip resets, and I haven't seen him be this mechanical in quite some time. Then Chicago is being aggressive with demos, bumps, taking your boost as well. And all 3 players can go for the solo plays, which we see them do plenty of times, but then they'll hit you with these midfield passes out of nowhere, Wavepunk, where you're not expecting that. You assume they're going to take that aerial game and go up for the air dribble, which they've been doing all series long, but instead it's one little midfield pass to break down your entire operation.
Yeah, they have this triple threat situation of just blasting to the backboard for the double taps, going for the air dribble, flip reset, solo plays, or looking for the pass plays. And you know, you can read a little bit. You could probably narrow it down to 1 of 2 options depending on positioning, but still, like that, the threat of the pass that is being then conditioned against by how many times they're going for the air dribble. You're going to see Oxygen position for the air dribble defense, and then they're going to make the pass. They're going to be completely out of position. So yeah, I agree with you. The versatility, the options that are available to G2 right now really has them in control of this series. So game 4, going to be the pivotal moment here. Either they advance or Oxygen manages to get a win and kind of break up a little bit of that momentum. But I mean, this is the game that's most likely for G2 to lose. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the sweep's about to happen here.
It's possible here for Oxygen. It's frustrating because they're a great team. Oxygen are a fantastic team. It feels like we've been talking about G2 this whole time, but how can you not whenever they play and look this clean on the pitch? Oxygen just need some breathing room, and that's why I say take the midfield boost, try and extend that rotation from G2 a little bit farther down to where they have to go back in their own half. I'm not sure if that'll be, their saving grace, but it could be something that leads into some momentum here. Maybe the first goal for Oxygen that we've seen in quite some time.
Game 4 underway. G2 up by 3, and a win would send them into the semifinals.
Ooh, I like the fake.
Needing the time.
A little slow play.
Find some time. Oh, there's Toasty. Now JNaps onto the side wall. LJ gonna leap for this one and miss. It'll be up to Krasix. Booms it to the third man, and Dries clears it back to midfield. Now taking it up onto the backboard here. Toasty's going to trap it. Dangerous touch here as JNaps tries to collapse on him. Chicago picking up control, got full boost off the ceiling. Got a flip to work with, but just going to go for it through the ground. Krasix is the block. JNaps up for it over the top of 2. Krasix, does he have enough boost? He's got just enough to reach it. Feathers it all the way there to keep us scoreless in game 4. Oh dear. My goodness. JNaps is not giving them a moment to breathe.
I was hoping we'd see another ground pinch, but as I'm talking, we get a fake from Chicago in the corner to allow Dries to come in with a shot, and then Dries gets a demo on the way back, but LJ is just running laps in the Chicago defensive half. What is going on? How was that not a goal off the crossbar and out? Pain for Oxygen.
Man. Oh, that is pain. You had an actual moment, an opening, and the crossbar, it just bounces straight down and gives the second man time to get there. Oh no, but LJ, okay, manages to get it through the defense. And hey, Oxygen back on top.
LJ's been running the offense basically by himself. The first attempt that we saw off the crossbar was just LJ, and then he goes for this flip reset fake where he baits out the defender of G2. Maybe we see something out of Oxygen that we've never seen so far.
Love the respect there from G2, and love even more the fake from LJ as Toasty's gonna try and kick off just barely too wide. Didn't know how to get around the defender. Missed. Now JNaps. Off the corner, Chicago's up for this one. He's got the defenders beat onto the backboard. Toasty, oh no, he's gonna have to fall down as the bounce goes awkward. Here's JNaps up against LJ, bounces back down. Well defended. LJ trying to will his team into game 5.
And you can see Chicago there was last back. Dries goes for the patient route though as he's on offense. He's also looking for a bump, but you've got LJ with the flip reset air dribble out. He gets a flick, and that one is off the crossbar again. LJ, he is starting to activate some special powers.
Here's Dries. They have to deal with an awakened LJ. He's got control again past Chicago.
Off the backboard.
And JNaps now looking for Chicago upfield. Awkward bounce. Toasty didn't know what to do with it. Here's Dries. Up the wall with Chicago in the midfield, leaves it for JNaps. And the flexibility of G2. You dribbled up the wall. I'm going to follow you up the wall and take it from you.
We have seen Oxygen go for
Chicago.
The mind game, or maybe a flip reset. He got the flip reset out into the midfield, and it just leads to nobody as the third man. But here comes Oxygen.
Oh, past the back line. Dries is going to try to extend this one past Toasty, but couldn't get enough speed on it. Here's Chicago. Shoots back post. Krasix has the backflip at the last moment, and Dries ties the game.
I want to see if this was a steal from Dries. I didn't really get a good angle. Was this one just going to fall in regardless? I mean, Dries was going for the bump. And that one did look like it was going to slip in potentially regardless. You got a lot of pressure to deal with if you're Oxygen.
Yeah, I can't. On those two looks, I wasn't able to tell if Toasty was too far back in the goal to stop it, but Toasty was following it. He was tracking.
I mean,
well done.
Get the security, the safety touch there from Dries.
Absolutely. Now LJ. He found one way through the defense. Can he do it again? To the sky. Off the ground, Krasix now looking for Toasty. LJ coming up from the third man. Beaten though. Toasty's going to be alone as he falls back to his half. Misses the ball, but baited out JNaps. Now Drees, lots of space off the ceiling, straight to Krasix on the backboard.
It's right back to G2, waiting in the midfield, trying to keep this pressure on. It's all coming down to this one mistake from Oxygen. How will they handle the pressure? You've got LJ with a big clear, but then it gets sent all the way back to the other side, and JNaps, the shot off the crossbar. That's how fast they can go for those counterattacks, Wavepunk. And
finally, JNaps hits a crossbar. Oxygen's happy about it. 50 seconds left in a tie game. JNaps rolling past one.
Oh, what a dunk.
Mysteries off the backboard. See, the Oxygen players a little bit piled up in the midfield here. No one really spaced out. That one touch gets a pass two. Krasix out of the backfield will get it as the front line from G2 got bumped. Toasty under one. Oh, missing two. Toasty on an open net. It goes in. 21 seconds left. Oxygen's on top.
Look at LJ. He doesn't even hesitate going into that challenge. What is that? That is ridiculous, actually. When you look at it, two players from G2 in the same corner. You think they're going to get a play or a touch out? LJ called their bluff the entire time, just drove straight at the ball and got it off the backboard. That is insane from LJ.
Oh, and a small double commit from G2 as well. Going to leave them poorly spaced. 13 seconds left. Can they tie it up and send us to overtime? Looking for a sweep here. Drees extends it down the field. JNaps up for it. Back down to Drees. Blocked by LJ.
Everybody's
out
there.
Of the corner. Past all of the players.
That's
LJ will put in some security. It won't make it there. It doesn't matter. Oxygen takes game 4.
We've got a series on our hands, Wavepunk. There could be a potential chance at that reverse sweep in a best of 7. I still can't get over that LJ play at the end. I wasn't even ready to see a goal go in. You see two players from G2 Esports in the same spot in the corner, and I think they were relaxed. They didn't think anybody's going to push up. But no, here comes LJ. No hesitation, just storming the ball, almost chasing it. And we're going to see it again in the replay because that was ridiculous.
LJ putting the team on his back in this situation and getting the win in game 4. Man,
look at this.
Was pretty crazy.
You see him just challenge that ball where there's two players of G2 in the corner? I don't understand that, but it worked. That's crazy.
I think the only way to beat G2 is to just commit to believe that you know how to play this game and say, I'm going to commit to them. I'm not going to sit here and react. I'm not going to wait for them. The moment they have you on your back foot, they're going to win. So Oxygen finding a second gear, moving it forward. Excited to see how they play here in game 5. Can they keep it going? Here's the thing. Anytime you have like a sweep situation, right? Whether you're in a best of 5, you're on game 3, or you're in a best of 7 and on game 4. That fourth game, that one where you have to put it away, I feel like that's always the time where the team that's in control, the team that's dominant, kind of relaxes. And they go, okay, cool, we got 3 in a row, and who cares? And then, of course, is the moment that the other team is the most incensed, the most inspired to win. So I feel like most 4-1s is going to just see game 4 be the one that the other team takes. So this is the game for me. This is, if Oxygen wins this here, oh man, we really got a new story going on.
But I think that you could see, just how comfortable G2 were getting on their own defensive half. They were just so slow to get some counterattacks in. The energy wasn't there as much. They weren't trying to outpace Oxygen as much as we saw earlier on in the series. And I'm guessing things change here, because if that isn't a slap in the face, I don't know what is with LJ literally just running through 2 of your own players on the defensive half.
Well, in the game 5, they rebound. Here's Krasix. Chicago on the side. Past one, Toasty. Extends it back. Here's Krasix dribbling through 1 and slowing it down, getting it past 2. Chicago will ping it out to the corner. JNaps winning another challenge, but Toasty turns it right back in. And I'm loving the speed from Oxygen from all 3 players.
Oxygen look fantastic, and I've noticed, that they're prioritizing a lot of the boost more in this game. They're keeping things slower. I mean, look at Toasty. Some mind games. He's dodging the demos from Chicago and ultimately making G2 have to think a lot harder on defense on how they're going to challenge this ball and get away with it.
All through 1. Rolled up high, just hanging in the air. The rest of G2's falling back.
Oh, and the demo. That's
now through 1 at demolition. Oh no! Krasix and Toasty bump into each other. Oh, but LJ puts the shot on and they recover from their own bump to bump the goalie.
LJ is the savior from this disaster. Look at that. I don't think we've ever seen that. It was a team bump that ruined the free goal, but thankfully you've got LJ. And that could have been so painful. We talked about pain earlier, Waypunk. That would have been the worst.
That would have been horrible. But I'm actually kind of amazed that Chicago got a wheel on it. Oh, but the infield pass on the other side. A nice counterattack. Dries puts it in to tie the game.
And this is right off the kickoff. There's two players a little bit too aggressive, and Krasix, if you notice two of your players send themselves forward, you've got to be more patient. He decides to go for an early challenge and just gets caught off.
This is a crazy game, Turtle. That last goal was wild.
I mean, I'm still thinking about the LJ push-up. Like, I don't know. It doesn't. It's not even that amazing. It's crazy to see LJ be so aggressive in a situation where you got two players out of G2. Maybe Oxygen, they're just trying to mix things up, have a different play style that's just chaotic. They are trying to fuel this chaos and hopefully make G2 uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, when I said the last goal, I meant the first goal. I don't know why I said last, but the Krasix and Toasty bumping into each other, like the Krasix approaching with a pass, and then Toasty just like being in the wrong spot at the wrong time, but then recovering to bump Chicago, like, and Chicago's somehow getting through two players breathing down his neck to actually come back and touch the ball, even though it didn't.
Ooh, look at the passing.
Nice pass, Krasix. Oh, running into Chicago again, and now through two. Chicago, a thorn in Oxygen side, and now upfield for their cherry pick, looking for defenders, doesn't find anybody. But a demolition on the JNAPs will actually really open up the space for Oxygen to fly back down and look for their own counterattack.
And I remember earlier on in the series, in the first two games, I mean, actually the first three games, I was harping a lot on Oxygen's lack of passes. They weren't really going for those outlet passes into the midfield. They just were hitting off the backboard. But we've seen that change here. They're moving the ball, into the corner, and then they'll opt for the midfield pass, which is something that we do see a lot out of G2. And speaking of G2, here they come. I believe this was planned. Dries, the fake in the air, and then you set up Chicago.
I bought the fake. I was like, and then the moment Dries missed, I was like, it's over. I was on Chicago's camera at the time and didn't even realize, he's here for it. What a play. Chicago setting them up, bait and switch, taking the lead.
And that was crazy because there were two players from Oxygen lined up, ready to go for the challenge. But if Dries gets a touch there, which he looks like he is, there's no point in going. But here comes Toasty off the kickoff.
Look at the smoothness from Toasty here. Picking up control. Nails it. Bam. Takes the shot. JNAPs can't get there. And so well placed. Out of the reach of anybody. Tie game again.
And that was also off of a fake from LJ. LJ, as soon as that kickoff happened, LJ went in for the read off the sidewall. I don't know if it was planned again, like that G2. What is going on? You can't be serious. How is this going in?
Dear teams, we're trying to analyze the gameplay, but you're giving us too much gameplay at the same time. Pickoff goal here from Chicago. Toasty out for
what on earth? I'm still trying to break down like the LJ fake in the other goal, and I'm like breaking it down by like equations, and then all of a sudden there's just another kickoff. There's no time.
No time. Watch the gameplay. 2:03 left to go. G2 with everything they need to move forward. They've already qualified for Sweden, but to move forward here in the third regional. JNAPs down the field. Here's LJ out of the corner. JNAPs will win the challenge. Dries thinks about it, but feels backflips. Maybe got called off. Gives space either way.
Maybe a 50-50 from Toasty. You can see Krasix just lurking in the midfield. He's waiting, hunting down any player from G2. And they're getting in front of the G2 offense. A lot of times you have a cherry picker from G2 forward, but Oxygen are positioning themselves right in front of that player who's looking for the redirect wave.
There's Krasix through one. LJ's up for it. Onto a backboard. Toasty's got to look at it, but Dries will get there first. Now Kraz in the third man. Turning on this. Holding on to control past one. Trying to get past two, but Chicago, what a challenge. Back to the backboard. Toasty attempts to take control, but now LJ with a miss. Dries is here. LJ manages to get the block on the fall. What a stall. What a way to recover. Now JNAPs, though, past one. Krasix back to midfield. In Chicago. The backboard, demolition onto Krasix and onto LJ. It's all up to Toasty. They'll find the clear. A long way down the field. Toasty coming alive in this game. That shot nearly on target. What could have tied up the game again, but 40 seconds left. G2. 40 seconds from taking the win.
Oh, yeah, and the key here for G2 is not to get too aggressive, but keep going for those demos. Keep going for the plays that you have been all game long. Don't switch it up. Don't get too passive because Oxygen, they've shown and proved that they have what it takes to break down your defense. If they're given the chance, just keep this ball off the backboard, look for bumps, allow Chicago to be aggressive, and hope that Dries, as the third man, holds on.
Oh, here comes Krasix. Oxygen pressuring to tie. 10 seconds left. Toasty with control.
This is it.
Takes it to the
They need
backboard.
something.
Drees clears it away. JNAP's up for it, beats LJ. Krasic's in the backfield, has to get
One
a
last
perfect
chance.
touch. Up to LJ trying, but Drees shuts it down. Back into the corner. Toasty gonna
gotta be
try to
it.
keep it up. It's gotta stay in the air, off the backboard, into empty
That's it.
space, and G2 take it in 5.
It was looking a little bit shaky at the beginning of this game, and especially the last game, but they clutched it up, brought it back. Oxygen, regardless of how great they looked and